This video is about piss poor governance. Literally, it's about bad policy, it's about bad execution, and it's about piss poor communication. It is about unilateral decision making and enablers to keep it so. Understand the mindset of most who are ruling this place, not governing, but ruling this place. Those that have concentrated the power are zero-tolerant micromanaging control freaks, some of which have narcissistic tendencies and don't give a shit what you think. They couldn't care less. It's their world and you're living in it. You're along for their ride.
Oh shit!
Sure, there are open meetings, but in their world they wouldn't want a single one of it. They're just checking the boxes because they have to do it to comply with the sunshine laws.
Fail!
Most decisions had already been made in advance. They're just putting on a show because they have to, not because they want to. When I'm saying the board, I'm talking mostly about the rec board, and they are not a monolith. I believe behind the scenes at times, some are trying to slow others down and are not too happy with it. But when it comes to the concentrated power of the few that rule, even other board members that have dissent or opposition or trying to slow them down are looked at as outsiders, as outcasts.
Oh, come on!
There is an inner board and an outer board, and that is dangerous to all of us. And looking at this board as a body who can never get their story straight, who always have different versions of truth that they're espousing that are contradictory to us. There is no evidence of any kind of check or balance. There is no evidence of any type of self-control among them, and it makes them weak as a board and as a body. To them, the end justifies the means, and they don't care how they get there, and they'll do it at any cost, including lying, cheating, and gaslighting us to achieve their will, their agenda, their results, without our input. This board is so weak, they are incapable of any form of effective oversight, and oversight is everything. Now there's a backstop to this 8-member board. They are chosen amongst the 17 boards of governors from the 3 different associations. 7 come from Grenoble, Valencia, 5 from Catania, and another 5 from Britannia. That's 17. And those 17 boards of governors are the members of the Recreation Association. Us, as unit owners, are not members of the Recreation Association. Understand the difference. And those 17 members decide which 8 among them becomes the rec board. And these other 9 members that are not on the board do have some degree of power and control. Any one of them could walk anytime it's a rec and get any document they want. Any one of those 9 can put an agenda item on their tower level to vote for other representatives to go to the rec board. The rec board themselves, among the 8 of them, have the power at any given time reorganize the board to have different leadership. Currently, I don't see any compelling evidence that any of these 9 members of REC are doing anything to help or change things.
Oh, come on!
I have a feeling plenty of them want to, and either realize they don't have that power, or there's not enough number to make any kind of effective change to make our REC board stronger. But for as weak as this REC board is, it is not about them anymore. That is what is known, that is what is obvious, and that is what is clear. But what is unclear is us, the unit owners, because us as a body of unit owners might very well be weaker, and the few in control of this board is placing their bet that way. They believe for as weak as they are stronger than you.
Ramrod. Ramrod.
They are shameless, and they will stop at nothing to do anything by any means to get their agenda done, to exert their will on us. And if you believe like me, they have no idea how to govern, but rule. That they don't care about the basics of oversight, policy, process, documentation, because they'd as soon do it any which way they can by the seat of their pants. And if the unit owners truly are weaker, then shame on us, because we'd rather prefer our La La Land and our sun and pay to look the other way. Or there might be some among us that come from the kind of cultures that don't mind a convenient dictatorship. Or there might be some among us who wouldn't know the difference between ruling or governance, or how they're building things upon a house of cards that make things more risky and fragile, and it's going to lead to adverse outcomes that in the longer run is going to wind up costing us more money in the end. I've said it before, we are the final arbiter of oversight. It is upon us with our vote to keep voting for change till we get better and more stable governance. And it's not just about this election, and it's not just about one association. And I understand people sometimes scared of change because it's always about the devil you know versus the devil you don't. But in the case of the current election in Grenoble and Valencia, we have staggered terms, so it's not like it's a complete wide sweep. Voting for change is the most pragmatic thing because it's incremental. and measured, and it takes time to get stabler and better governance. And unit owners need to realize that this is the single most important thing we could do to remain ever vigilant, to ever strive for stabler governance through incremental voting for change when necessary. Governance is about legacy, it's about succession, it's about passing the baton. It is not about ruling. And from that point of view, you could look at the current board as just unit owners like us who are volunteering for a thankless job, and I don't envy them. But to some with egos bigger than the size of our towers themselves, sometimes it goes to their head. Don't get me wrong, there are contributions made and there was some service, but this is about passing the baton. In the circumstance when governance is strong and stable, then status quo is a reasonable position to take and let things ride. Unfortunately, these are not the circumstances we find ourselves in. Governance is still unstable, it is too volatile, it is run at the whim of a few, and it is too dangerous to even consider status quo. Voting for change is the only choice that can be made, and this might take a couple of election cycles to get us to where we need to be, and all of our lives will be the better for it. The problem with a house of cards, most people don't see it until it falls. So let's provide a quick summary of some of the day-to-day things that have happened here over the course of the last half year or so that are indicative of why there's bad governance and no process and procedure, and why there's no accountability, there's never an admission of getting it wrong, and instead always blaming others, whether it's staff or other board members. Most of this falls at the hands of Marlum, the one-eyed queen. On the very first day, she unilaterally fired the rec manager without other board members knowing. And don't get me wrong, most could agree that rec manager needed to go. But the point is how it was done. Because that rec manager left in a fury and a vengeance. They locked out the computers, there are documents missing to this day because of it, and with process and understanding and procedure and handling things different, most of that could have been avoidable.
Fail.
Oh, you could say, oh, first day, rookie mistake, but it's bigger than that. It's part of a pattern. Because she has zero ability to admit mistakes and will do everything and everyone to sacrifice everyone around her and blame everyone else for everything else.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
Okay, take two. Let's fast forward a few months later. They hire another rec manager that lasted a month or so. And in early summer, Marlum led an unnoticed closed meeting, which is a big no-no. It's like a secret meeting and just the violation of everything that the Open Sunshine Laws are about when it comes to governance.
Fail.
Every board member should have known better. And when this was brought to light in an open meeting, they all stood there like deer in the headlights. They didn't say, oops, I'm sorry. They didn't pretend like they didn't know. None of them had anything to say about it. And yes, the new rec manager was part of that meeting and should have known better as well. But instead, Marlum pretended like she didn't know and blamed it all on him. And how'd she go about making that rec manager the sacrifice pawn? She and another board member had a little sit-down talk with the rec manager and said, you know, when we hired you a month or so ago for this much money, we decided, you know what, we offered you a little too much. We reworked the math a little, and really, you're only worth half as much as we originally agreed to pay you. And that to continue being the rec manager, you're only going to work for half pay now. Would not be surprised if that yet more legal ramifications because of something like that. But it tells you how she operates and her ideas of how to sacrifice pawns around her for her mistakes. Then we get to the August 1st meeting where the obvious access control is not even an agenda item, and the motion made so vague that no one had any idea that they actually voted for. And that doesn't matter because both Marlum and the former lawyer claim to this day that it was the former board that approved the biometrics, which is a complete lie.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
Then take that October 25th meeting on biometrics. It wasn't about her anymore. Now it's the whole board gaslighting us and extolling the virtues of why it's good, thinking they're assuaging our fears. It has been a concerted, obsessed, campaign, coerced effort to get people to sign up like cattle around here.
Oh, come on!
And out of the other side of the mouth, this board then starts talking about communication and transparency as if they're doing some kind of service here. But in reality, we had a failed communication committee.
Fail.
And the only notices we're getting primarily through conduct controls how many times Zumba and yoga are moved to a card room where it's safer to engage in those activities rather than a new tile laid out that is not resistant, and people been slipping and falling and breaking bones and tearing ligaments and bruised faces. There's like 4 different accounts minimum of unit owners that are getting hurt because of how fast they put the tile down without any kind of thought, without any kind of procedure, process, policy, checklist, or unit owner input.
Oh, come on!
I suspect there's more, but we'll never have access to the injury reports or accident reports filed with security, along with just about any other kind of document request around here that would be normal anywhere else to receive and get in a timely basis, but yet it is single-handedly under the sole control of Marlum, who is not releasing any of it, and her intentional denial of access is willful failure compliance with statute.
Denied.
These few examples are just a drop in the bucket of everything that's going on around here, and none of it should be tolerated. Marlum will not step down as president, and this board is too weak to reorganize and get better governance under their own control. It is left to us as a last resort, as a final backstop through our vote to vote for change. Otherwise, you better be careful where you are when the house of cards falls down. On a parting note, I'm going to leave you with one last example that is emblematic of everything that's wrong about all of this. That is emblematic of the literal piss-poor governance that I said at the start of the video. And that is, the entire board has chosen to install fingerprint readers for the bathrooms. Now just stop for a moment and think about it. Step back from all this from a common sense point of view. One of the most vital, basic human needs they're trying to control. And for what? Maybe a couple rolls of toilet paper gets stolen each week? I think we could afford that. They come up with one-off hysterical events that there are vagrants living in our bathrooms as the reason? Can't you see how doubled down they are to offer a rationalization for it? There is absolutely zero reason on the planet to have locked bathrooms here.
Fail.
And do you know what we all get for yet one more bonehead policy decision? Think about your neighbor in the pool, and their fingers are soggy from the water, and they know the fingerprint readers don't even work. Do you think anyone is going to get out of that pool and go to that locked bathroom that they couldn't even get into?
It's Mountain Dew. I didn't pee in anything.
I hate to leave it on this note, but I swear to you that there must going to be triple or more the number of people peeing in the pools every day that you are swimming in. And it's not anyone's fault. No one wants to pee in the pool, but it's gonna happen because, you know, it's life and shit happens, which we could only hope that shit doesn't happen. But you know what? I bet you we're gonna have to empty the pool for a few more poops along the way this year too. Which is so poetically fitting, as this board is both full of shit and doesn't give a shit.
It's no big deal.
And on that note, I'm wishing you a great holiday weekend ahead. And if you're enjoying a little holiday swim, if you think it's feeling a little warmer in there, it ain't from the heater.